guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing another book review, and this is kind of a series review, but like the next one comes out in a couple months, so it's a series up until now. So yeah, I just finished these not too long ago. One of them I literally finished this morning at like 9 a.m. Yeah, I have some pretty big thoughts about these. Anyway, let's get into it. So this should come at no surprise at all. I have been reading Fourth Wing, and Iron Flame, whatever, for a couple weeks now, and I just finished Iron Flame this morning, so I thought I'd do a little review on the both of them. So we're gonna do Fourth Wing first, and I do have the first edition of this. I have the first edition of Iron Flame as well, with the sprayed edges, but we'll get into that one later. I really love my copy of Fourth Wing because this is just so cool, and I think this was the first book I've ever gotten like this, maybe? So it's just really special to me in that way. There's nothing really that interesting on the end papers, it's just the map, which is also kind of cool, but for those of you that don't know, Fourth Wing is kind of like a How to Train Your Dragon type thing, if you've ever seen that DreamWorks movie. It's kind of like a college for dragon riders, and they have different like quadrants or whatever. They have like scribes, which are like, you know, history reader type people, librarians, and then they have riders who obviously ride the dragons. And they go out into like combat and stuff like that. They protect the like border of the country, and then they also have healers. Healers are kind of like doctors, and then they call them infantry. I think they are kind of like, you know, kind of like a royal guard or whatever. So like they protect like the school itself, I think, from what I understand. So with Fourth Wing, this is obviously the first book in the series. I think there's gonna be 5 books in this series. But there are only 2 out right now. The third one comes out in January, and I've already pre-ordered my special edition from Barnes & Noble because I am that excited about it. So the first one, as always, is like an introductory book into the world of Fourth Wing and stuff like that. You get to know Violet and Xaden and everyone else who is important to the story, and you kind of like learn a little bit about how the school works, how the different tasks, I guess, work. So the first task that you have to do in order to go into the school is, well, it depends on what quadrant you're going into, but Violet went into the Rider's quadrant, so she had to cross what they call as a parapet, and you kind of like just, it's kind of like a balance beam. But if you fall, you die. There's like a river, like thousands of feet like below it, and you have to like walk across in order to enter the quadrant. And then her next task, they do like some fighting, and then you get your dragon, and that is called threshing. So the dragon chooses you, you don't choose the dragon. And yeah, there's a really big thing about dragons don't take orders from humans. That's a very big theme that happens in here. You kind of like get to know like the dragons and stuff. I really like her dragon. His name is Tarn, and he is sassy, he's funny, and he's basically like, stop falling, just stop bleeding, what are you doing? It's just really funny. I love their dynamic and stuff. It's hilarious. There is a lot that happens in here. There's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of like questions that are had that, and then you get in here and there's more questions. But anyway, so you kind of like learn the different friendships that happen, and so Xaden is the other main character. He's like the love interest, I guess, and he is what they call a marked one. So his where he's from, like their city or whatever, his dad is the one that led like a revolution like years and years ago, and the marked ones are all of the kids of the parents who were in the revolution. So he is, we find out that he's tasked with like protecting all these people that are in the school and are called the marked ones. And there's something interesting with them is the principal, I guess, of the school, like his special power, I guess, is he can see the future. and he can't see what like the marked ones are doing if there's 3 of them together, I guess, which is kind of strange, but it works out for them. So he holds like meetings and stuff with the marked ones, and they kind of like strategize like how can we like do better, I guess. Like there is another part in Fourth Wing where it's called War Games, and it's kind of like a practice run, I guess, for what like what a war would kind of look like. And Xaden and Violet and like some of the marked ones in like her class and some of the other classes, they are sent off to this other area, and they're sent there because Violet's best friend, his name is Dane, and we don't like Dane in this first one. We don't like him. He's a mind reader. He can read minds, and he read Violet's mind without her knowing, and he's like, why would they, he doesn't say this out loud, but he's like, why would they go over there? So he tells his dad about this, and his dad kind of like also works at school, and he is in charge of the placements of War Games, and he sends Xaden and his group over to this like area where he's been flying off to without telling anybody, and passing off like weapons and stuff to the Griffin Riders to help them with the Venom. And Griffin Riders are obviously how it is. Like, they are people who ride griffins, but instead they call them flyers instead of riders. Get sent out there, and it's kind of like they're sentenced to death. Dane's dad kind of sentenced them to death, I guess, because there is a Venom like ambush on the city that they were sent to, and obviously they survive, and Violet kind of gets hurt a little bit, so her power is lightning, and she kind of like gets hurt from one of the Venom, like they stabbed her. So I don't think I explained what Venom is. Venom are people who, they absorb too much power. They started taking it from the ground instead of from their dragon, and that's a no-no. You become like mad, you know, like crazy. So she gets stabbed with this like poison dagger, and then she finds out like something really big at the end of this book. So I really enjoyed Fourth Wing so much, and I don't think I did a good job explaining it just now. But for those of you that have read it, you know what happens. It's fantasy, it's like a little romancy, there's dragons, there's magic, there is a witchcraft and wizardry school, you know, like you have to learn how to use your new powers from your dragons, you know, and you have to learn like war tactics and everything else. It's really good. It's really good. I loved it so much, and I just can't put into words how good this book actually was. But yeah, so that was Fourth Wing. I loved it. If you haven't read it, please do. If you're into like fantasy and stuff like that, it's YA to an extent, but there is some like adult themes obviously in here, but it's really good, and I highly suggest you go read it like immediately. So with me finishing Fourth Wing, I read Fourth Wing on Kindle Unlimited. I don't think I said that earlier, but I read it on Kindle Unlimited because it like just got on there recently, and I thought I'd pick it up finally. And I immediately fell in love with it. I read it so fast. It was really good. But yeah, so I finished it, and then I immediately read Iron Flame, which is the second one. And so when Iron Flame originally came out, so this is the first edition one, when it originally came out, there were so many things wrong with the copies. I think there's like maybe 15, 17 different things wrong with it. Luckily, mine only has one thing, and it is that it doesn't have a dragon on chapter 17. Yeah, so that's the only thing wrong with it. But all the other chapters have it. And some people, like, they had duplicates of pages. They had, their entire book was printed upside down. They opened it and all the pages fell out. You know, there's like so many different things wrong with it. So in order for me to like just go into it confidently, I got the one that I read it from the library because I didn't want to be scared. So I just got mine from the library, but as you can see, it has the perfect sprayed edges, the cover's good. The only thing that I saw wrong with it was that No dragon on chapter 17. Other than that, Iron Flame put me in such a panic attack, I felt like nauseous after I finished it this morning. And I read this for like 8 hours straight over the weekend. I couldn't like separate my own emotional feelings that were like mine from what I was feeling when I was reading the book. So it was a lot. I literally felt sick. I was gonna like throw up after I finished this. Like, I'm not even kidding. I texted my fiance immediately when I finished it. I'm like, I'm gonna throw up. But it was so good. The next one comes out in January, like I said, and I already like pre-ordered my copy, and it'll be here soon. I'm not gonna have to suffer as long as the people who read this like when it came out, because I think this came out last year, and to end it on that cliffhanger and like leave it for a year, I'm just like, oh my god. But I did go on to Rebecca Yarros' Instagram today, and I saw that she has finished the Onyx Storm. That's the third one. That's what it's called. She's finished it, and I believe it's gonna go to the printing press, and then she said she's gonna be taking a break from writing, which, you know, she deserves it. I just hope this next book doesn't like break me into a billion pieces, but you know, it's fine. Anyway, so getting into Iron Flame. So this one picks up immediately after Fourth Wing ends. This one, they are preparing for war because the Venom are coming to their town, to their college. They are going to infiltrate them, and the school has been keeping Venom a secret for I don't know how long, and they're just like, you have to tell like everybody what's actually happening. You can't just keep hiding this under like, you know, whatever. And Xaden is graduated. He graduated from the college, so he gets to be deployed off to like protect the border, I guess. And their dragons are mated pairs, so this is actually not good at all. What happens is they get a new like I'm gonna call him a vice principal. And he kind of like tries to put in this rule where like, oh, you guys can only like leave to like visit each other like every 2 weeks or whatever. And that is a no-no in Dragonland, because dragons are like, we don't take orders from humans and everything and blah blah blah. So it like puts them in a really bad place. But they work it out. It's as fun as it can be. You know, it's like that for a while. You know, Violet's still in school, she's learning things, and then a little while later, they're learning interrogation tactics. So, you know, like, they have to be able to keep their secret or whatever, and they're learning how to do that if they ever, like, get kidnapped and stuff. With that, a little while later, Violet actually gets kidnapped by the vice principal because she took some like journal from the vault or something, and it's a very very old one. It's about how to raise the wards. So around the school they have like protective shields, I guess, and they call them wards. And she stole it, and she's like, I'm gonna figure this out. We're gonna be able to raise our own wards and blah blah blah. And so she gets kidnapped, and she is kidnapped for 5 days. And she's beaten by the vice principal and everything else. And then Dane comes back. Remember, Dane is a mind reader. So he is forced to read Violet's mind to figure out why she took the book, because she won't tell. Even though she's been beaten to death for like 5 days. So he's fighting with it. He doesn't want to, but he ends up doing it, and he's like, you could have told me, I would have, like, helped you, like, I would have helped protect you or whatever, I would have helped you with whatever you need, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, obviously, like, she couldn't trust him because of what happened in Fourth Wing. So, like, Xaden and his friends, they were, like, dropping off, like, Wyvern at the, like, front of the school. They're like, you have to, like, tell this or whatever, and then he goes and he gets Violet. So then after that, a lot of the people from the school, like, go to this other town where, they are living, I guess. It's called Aratia, I don't know. I called it Erasure when I was reading it. And they go over there and they are learning themselves. They're learning how to fight venom. They're learning how to make their own. They're learning how to make their own runes, which is kind of similar to the City of Bones series. If you guys have ever read that, they also use runes, which is kind of cool to see it in another series. I haven't seen it in another one, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, and Xaden's ex is also there, and her power is like enhancing the emotions that like you already have. So her and Violet get into it a little bit, but it's fine. They work it out. And then near the end is the actual like war of the Venom against the school, and it's like a whole thing. Violet does raise the war. She does figure out how to do that. But she does it at the school instead of at Erasure, which is, you know, whatever. Xaden's like, wherever you go, I go, you know. And then at the end of it, there is a huge thing that happens, and this is the thing that made me want to throw up. I'm not going to say what it is for the sake of spoilers, but it was a really big thing, and it actually, I'm like, I really need to know, like, what happens next. Like, I haven't felt this way in a long time after reading a book, so this feeling is just like, wow. So, that being said, I might put a pause on reading for a while, just because, this one was so intense, but you know, there are other things I can do. But, anyway, so, all in all, I absolutely love these two books so far, and I can't wait for the rest of the series to come out. That'll bring us to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have read this, please let me know your comments down below, because I need more people to talk about this series with. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!